We should be live. We will check here in a sec. Spooky Takes Live. 4 watching. Amazing. Now it's down to 0. I can't tell. Is it 0 people watching? Okay, now it's down to 1. Great. Okay, so do I need to adjust much here? Come on. Okay, let's see if I can pull up the chat. Let's see. I had a way of doing that, didn't I? There we go. Live chat. Now, I think I have it rigged so that you have to be a member to ask questions, which is probably going to limit the activity some. Oh, there we go. Get that a little closer to my face, maybe slightly. Okay, we have someone watching, and that's probably me. So let's go ahead and get into this. Greetings, Legendary Badass Von Fry, Von Jog Vlog. I am looking at that rebrand right now. Crazy world we got going on. Got this in the mail recently. Yep. Expendables. 1 through 4, Steelbook. It is a Blu-ray, 4K, and digital. Don't think they have DVD on there, which is DVD is kind of a waste to bother. Got this on eBay for $30, a bit overpriced at the Walmart exclusive $70, but I haven't actually opened it yet. And I was kind of thinking I might actually. Oh, I screwed up. I've got my Red Bull over there, and I can't reach that. And this is going to be a mess. But I'm going to open that Expendables up. Over here, grab my Red Bull. We're drinking Red Bull tonight, guys. The sugar-free kind. I'm wondering where I'm going to put that without causing a problem. And I don't really have a great solution. Let's see, that plastic kind of somewhat protective right there. Okay. And I don't have my trusty carbon blade pocket knife on me. So here we go. The Expendables, not particularly spooky themed, but I kind of want to get into some stuff regarding the chaotic state of streaming right now and the impact it's had on physical media. Because these companies have streaming platforms, they're like, why would we bother making discs? You're supposed to subscribe. Where's the Expendables going to go? Being that it's Lionsgate, Millennium, New Image, whatever they're calling it. Lionsgate, and I'll partner with other crap, but this has have a pretty cool slipcover. So you've got the guy, let's see if we look at this. He's got the cigar, right? But you lift the slipcover up. He's spewing bullets. He's got a gun, right? So that's one of the more inventive slipcovers I've seen. You know, Steelbook. You can't do a whole lot with the Steelbook because you can't really emboss a Steelbook because then it won't slip. The slipcover won't work, but you can if you don't do the slipcover. So let's go ahead and open this up. We've got discs and discs and discs, and this one, some of these just appear to be kind of free floating. Just right here, that's a little troublesome. Whoa. Yeah, New Image 4K, The Expendables. What do we have on this one? And I said it's not spooky themed, but hey, it had that guy with the digital copy. Okay, at least that was face down, so you can't, you know, if you're doing a live unboxing. I see what they kind of try to do here. I'm wondering if these got scratched any, because I kind of heard them jiggling around in there. This is Expendables 3, which I think, and this is a 4K. So let's see, can I stack these on here? Is that big enough? Yeah, it is. Okay, so I can probably just go bounce between the two. And I think they might have came off in transit. So yeah, that's like a double stack thing. Theatrical version, Expendables 3. Hold on, do we have director's cut on some of these? because and I put these on here and now I can't get them off. The thing is, they're Expendables 3. Okay, so we have an unrated in here also. So how many discs are we looking at? Because we have a 4. So here's the unrated 3. And I'm wondering, is that 4K? That might just be, that's just Blu-ray. So it's not really a definitive collection, is it? So then what are we looking at? How many discs? All right, so that's the Expendables, even though the line down here kind of suggests 2, right? And then we have more discs, but this is Expendables Blu-ray. Expendables 2 4Ks underneath that. So somewhere in this pile, and there's not another disc there, there's one underneath here, and that must be 4, which 4 has enough weird blood in it that I'm assuming it's rated R. These are not easy to get out of here. Well, it sucks that Expendables 3, yeah, okay, so we've got that on 4K. 4K. Expendables 3 unrated is stuck on Blu-ray. That's not a 4K. I haven't actually seen the unrated version, but I'm assuming what that means is CGI blood squibs added. I caught all of these except Expendables 4 in theaters. And 3, I think, is a little underrated, but I wouldn't call any of these movies great. That's just the nature of the franchise, if we're being totally honest with ourselves. There's a little bit of a nostalgia pull trying to get you kind of interested. I think nostalgia plays a big part in horror right now. That's kind of crummy. Hold on. Does it say on the back here? Expendables 3, rated PG-13 theatrical version. Yes, indeed. Ultra high definition, whatever. But then it... Well, it's kind of a crappy deal, but maybe there's a digital... Well, then it would only be Blu-ray also for the digital copy. But I think the digital copy might be a theatrical cut all across. But yeah, we opened a Blu-ray on here. If you guys want me to open Blu-rays on a live stream, we're going to have to get flowing with the members. Okay, the members have got to be coming in. We got to get memberships. Pretend I'm a hot chick and that you're trying to like get my attention, because that's the name of the game these days, isn't it? Kind of surprised. Well, not surprised I got this. I got it at less than half the price. Walmart went $70, and for 4 movies, you're thinking 4 movies, 4K. That's not too bad. If they were great movies, that's why this is actually sitting on the shelf at my local Walmart. But something like this bad boy, Ninja Scroll. Unfortunately, I got this last Friday, and I might be the only person who got mine. It seems like only Crunchyroll store had their orders honored, and maybe Sentai Filmworks site directly, because Amazon, Target, they canceled. I don't think you were able to get this through Walmart, and if you did, they probably canceled on you. And that just straight canceling means this is actually truly a limited edition, and they're wanting serious money online. In fact, this director's previous work, I have the Steelbook. I got this Steelbook last year, Vampire Hunter D. The first feature-length anime I watched. I believe this is the first R-rated Japanese film released in American theaters. Vampire Hunter D, the Steelbook. This goes for a lot of money right now. They're wanting $500 on Amazon for the DVD. And yeah, so the physical media craze is ridiculous. It feels weird because it's like, hey, we have the technology to punch out these discs. We just would rather not. We'd rather you sign up to watch on our streams. Well, if the streams had the quality of the discs, in these cases, I'm showing you Blu-rays and 4Ks. Oh, hey, but we have expendables at home, right? But we have expendables on what would mom say? We have expendables at home, but it's streaming. Yeah, well, not in 4K, right? So even if you have expendables over on Netflix, it's not going to be in 4K. And then you're like, what are we doing here? We have the technology to put this stuff in 4K on our streaming sites and we don't. I've seen several things. Look, Prime Video has Project Echo. They have Project Echo 2 also. They probably even have 3. And they look like dog water. They are VHS rips, not even DVD, VHS rips uploaded on Prime Video for your paying Prime customers. But you can get the Blu-ray from Discotech Media and it looks amazing. Dare I say, okay, it's not necessarily the prettiest, most modern looking anime. It is from 86, but it is looking better than Disney Renaissance of the period. You go back and you look at even The Little Mermaid does not look as good as you remember it. Beauty and the Beast, yes. The Lion King, yes. The Little Mermaid, a little rough around the edges. And that is a lot of Project Echo, but the action is really amazing. It's just unfortunate. Like, I recommend it to a friend and he watches it on Prime Video and he's like, are you kidding me with this? So let's go off of that and get into the spooky business here. Am I just going to hold this the whole time? Probably. We're going to crack open the Red Bull and get to talking about spooky things. So I was tricked by a Canadian broad into signing up for a website called Mubi. Have you guys heard of Mubi? And if so, do you have a Mubi membership or something? How do I propose a poll to the channel here? Share screen, share in stream. There was ways to make a poll. Heard of Mubi. I'm going to type that over here on my computer. And I probably didn't type that well. Okay, so it's like Tubi, but it's called Mubi, as if they were trying to spell movie but couldn't. And they have like the art house films, and they have a few things there I was interested in. And I saw with my Samsung OLED, hey, you signed up on a Samsung smart TV, not differentiating between LED, OLED, and the like. You get 30-day free trial instead of 7 days. And as such, I was like, hey, they have The Fall. I wanted to watch that. They also have, and I started watching that. I've got an hour left, got a little sidetracked, fell asleep, woke up with a migraine headache, ended up watching something else the next night. I was watching Humanist Vampire Seeking Suicidal Consensual Victim or something. I think it came out last year, Canadian film from like Quebec or Montreal or wherever they have to speak French. And it's kind of cute. It's not a strictly horror film in any sense of the word, and it is very, I would say indie, but also it's got a bit of a hipster thing to it. So there's this young 60-something-year-old vampire, but she looks like a teenager. I was thinking the vampire lore in this is a little off the rails, and I'm going to probably do a video on this before Halloween. But if the girl's like her fangs are just coming in and she's supposed to kill somebody, and it's like a passage of vampirehood, the analogy here, it's kind of like coming of age vampire story. So there's like a guy who walks around with his eyes like this all the time, and he's just kind of a weird suicidal guy at the high school. And so he gets to be kind of a victim for it, and everybody's like, go ahead and do it, kill him, right? You see what I'm saying here? But the vampires they're not locked in at the age in which they became a vampire. I'm assuming she was born from vampires, and they have like vampire literature and stuff. And it's almost like everybody else should know what about vampires, but maybe they just don't believe it. Maybe there's really not that many of them. They try to keep the population under control. If you start sucking a guy, but you don't kill him and he lives, then he becomes a vampire. Now you got to take care of him and shit. So that ends up happening to one of the victims. But and the fighting in this, I wish more was done instead of off screen. Let's have a kid jump, and then that's her throwing him or something. Because the rest of the movie looks pretty good, and there's some attention to it. And it's not like outright funny. It is a little more on the understated, dry humor side of things. You'll notice that, at first I thought, oh great, we're doing the It Follows crap, where it's like we can't determine what time period this movie takes place in. Okay, like remember It Follows? Let's all drive 80s cars, but we also have a antiquated iPad that's like a Game Boy, and we watch old ass TV. So what are we doing here, folks? In this film, it's the vampires that held on to the old stuff. They have their vinyl, they have their old car, but they also have a flat screen TV. So they do keep up in some ways. But this, yeah, you might check it out. And if you got Mubi or you don't, you can sign up for a 7 or 30-day trial, depending on how you do. If you have a smart TV, sign up on the smart TV. It may not matter if it's a Samsung or a Sony or whatever. Give it a shot. Download the app and check that out. Part of why I did download that was I was being asked by a couple of people to watch The Substance. And so I'm assuming my audio is decent here. Nobody's telling me the audio is any good. And how's our poll doing? 0% say yes. Is that right? Total? It doesn't say any percent says no. The Substance is not on Mubi yet. And The Substance is kind of how I found out about Mubi. It's a Mubi release. Okay, so do they also make some films kind of like Alamo Drafthouse doings, or exactly? I'm not sure. Did they purchase things after they ran through the festival circuit? Is that what their whole setup is? That's not coming out till August or October 31st. And I don't have time to review that for Halloween. So the tentative schedule for next week, I have Halloween and Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers and the Halloween Resurrection will be on Halloween. I also will play through and review Vampire Savior, the third Darkstalkers game. Possibly, there's going to be 4 uploads the week of Halloween before Halloween. So, because Friday's after. Also, the intention is to do Demons and Demons 2, because I did pick up Demons 4K, and Demons 2 are both on Mubi, and I can probably get clips good enough from them. I watched both recently. Demons 2, I'm not super thrilled about, and I've reviewed Demons previously, but I have some things to say and kind of package them together into one video. And also, I do have a video kind of prepackaged from the previous podcast last week about my mom explaining the Halloween film. I could do that, or maybe do that during the weekend and also put out a review during the next week of Humanist Vampire. We're just going to call it Humanist Vampire because I'm not going to remember that title. About looking at it on a piece of paper in front of me. So that is kind of what I've been watching. I watched Demons 2, Halloween, the worst Halloween movies according to the Wrap. I've all gone through Tulsa King. I'm playing arcade games. I'm playing Overwatch. I'm playing Katamari Damacy 2 or whatever they're calling it. And yeah, I've got Blu-rays coming in that other people don't get. Crunchyroll actually yesterday shipped Macross Plus. This is a $200 Blu-ray, not even 4K. I guess I don't understand why, if the price is going to be this high, why not go ahead and make it 4K, right? Can we assume that there just isn't a 4K release of Expendables 3 unrated? Is that the situation here? But it would be nice to get that, what is it, 10 or 12-bit color that HDR has I think HDR 10-bit. Dolby Vision and HBR 10 Plus might be a 12. I could be wrong, but it doesn't matter too much. There is clearly a difference between 8 and 10. The colors really pop and they're bright. And on Ninja Scroll, that would have been really helpful. There's a fair amount of fire, and you know that effect when they just have like the exposed backlight to make crazy brightness in the traditional anime during like telecine process? That's really cool. Could look really interesting in 4K with HDR, but they don't really do that, and that's kind of upsetting. So, um, yeah, I guess I've got that video coming out on the Halloween stuff, but I may as well just kind of spill the beans here and then do the video for Halloween because I've got 5 people watching. You want to talk about spooky things, right? Halloween Resurrection is not necessarily the worst in the franchise. I think that we have to say that Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie film, is, but you can see that they were trying to be like, oh, okay, how do we update Michael Myers? Well, I guess if we bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, this kind of has some star appeal. That can get someone to sit in the seats until the first act is over, and then we realize we just wasted her. We also could try to rip off the Blair Witch Project. So, everybody, get your head mounted vision cameras going. And it's weird because the to the film's credit, it does look like during those scenes that they actually used what the actors had on their head in what 1 megabyte video, megapixel video of the time, 2002 webcam mounted to your head type video. It does look like that. I will give them that. That's also not a fun way to watch a movie. Curiously, whenever they try to do the kid has the camera like Chronicle, the kid does not have a camera that can look like what Chronicle shoots, okay? Or Project X for that matter. It doesn't really Cloverfield is a push, but unlikely. Uh it's also funny how like they put on this gear and it is so clanky. Like, okay, I'm just putting on cling, 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 cling. Everybody, ching, cling, 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 cling. Strap, cling, cling. And that the movie is so over the top with the sound effects. Certainly an issue that the films of that time had, and I think occasionally comes back around where we try too hard with the sound effects. Like I have mentioned before, that when you have the loud chopping sounds and the splatter, it makes the horror like funny. No matter how, and then the excessive amount of blood is played for laughs so much since, uh, who really did it? I guess once you start lampooning it, you kind of ruin the genre. So it's kind of like the action movie has to be on the way out by the time Last Action Hero happens, and then you only have a few more years left. That's really about the way it feels. And with the horror films, how long was it effective after Scary Movie in 2000? Not all that long. They started shifting to like the J horror stuff and what can we propagate over here and do the American remake of the J horror, and that lasted for a little bit. And then they tried to do the paranormal thing. Saw kind of along the vein, but could you ever take Saw that seriously when it looks dirt cheap? And I felt bad for Danny Glover in the first film. Like, man, you're Murtaugh. Like you could do better than this. So all that's unfortunate. And so I would say Halloween Resurrection, not as bad as Halloween 2, but it was certainly better than Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers, which I think is Halloween 6. The introduction of Paul Rudd, introducing and starring Paul Rudd, playing the role of Paul Rudd. But you wouldn't know that because he's not wearing Kansas Jayhawk attire, which is his whole entire shtick. So yeah, he's over there rudding it up, and I think I say as much in my video. Someone had some care to that film. It felt like there was an attention, some care taken to the editing process that kind of made it a little endearing. And in some ways, I'm thinking this movie is not as bad as I was told it would be, if we're being completely honest. But The plot doesn't make a ton of sense. Michael Myers kills like a shock jock, disc jockey guy and strings him up in a tree in the middle of a park where a bunch of trick or treaters are walking around. And so this goes entirely unnoticed. And then some dumb kid's like, hey, it's raining blood. It's raining red. This is great. Oh, we look up in the tree and it's the shock jock. Really stupid. At the end, they just bash Michael Myers a bit. And Dr. Loomis is over there going, hey, I've got some unfinished business. And it is like Poochie from, I was supposed to say Ren and Stimpy, Itchy and Scratchy. Hey, Poochie, you have something to say. I certainly do. I have to go now. My planet needs me. Poochie died off screen, you know? That's the way Dr. Loomis goes down here. He is like on his deathbed shooting these scenes, and he's like, I have some unfinished business. And cut to the end. That's about the way it goes. Oh, it's like the In Memory of Donald Pleasant screen is the same thing as Poochie died on the way to his home planet. It really is. It feels like that. It's like, wow, you really ended it like that? It feels disrespectful on top of everything else. But he's not a guy that needed to be in this. I thought his character might have even died in a previous movie, like there's a big showdown. I didn't see 4 and 5, so I don't know what the whole situation is with that. But I know we got this character, Jamie Lloyd, right? And she's Michael Myers' niece or something, but maybe she's actually Laurie Strode's daughter or something like this. Is that right? Yeah, because if daughter, then niece. Yeah, I guess that makes okay. But she gets killed near the start here. She's pregnant, and I think her character might be all of 15 years old. Has a baby that Michael Myers is after. There's a cult, and they use Michael Myers as a cleansing tool, like the mini purge, I guess. And still, it's not as bad as Halloween Resurrection or Halloween 2. And I haven't even seen Rob Zombie's original Halloween. Prefer not to, if we're being completely honest. What do you guys think? Let me know. I've got 4 people watching, and none of you are members, I'm assuming, because no one has said anything. Do I have this, do I have the chat on wrong over here? I've got the chat going. It says top messages. Is there a different way to sort that? Am I doing this wrong? Because top live chat. Oh, we've got a poll. Okay. So I guess everybody can vote in the poll, which I can't see on the screen. But 50% are saying you've heard of Mubi. If we go to fan funding, that's nothing. I guess the poll stays at the top. Okay, we'll keep the poll going. I don't really know how I'm going to view this on my phone over here. It's like I really do have to use my computer screen to get anything done. Live, top messages. How do I edit that? All right, made it go away. That doesn't help. Top messages. 4 viewers. If only somebody could become a member and tell me what the hell button I need to push on here. Welcome to live chat. Remember, here, I'm just going to say hi on my own stream. Evidently, I'm allowed to do that, even though I'm not a member of my own channel. So, yeah, joy. I do hope that the chat, not that there's any chat this time, shows up in the feed if you watch this. Mobile, it may not. On a computer, I believe it does replay the chat so that you can see what's happening there. We have custom emojis. I'm going to drop one right here. I need to add more. They're probably all going to be movie or game related or something. And I don't know if I can get in trouble for that. Is that animated? It's supposed to be Leonardo DiCaprio going, no. I saw that. And I don't see him moving. I thought these emojis were supposed to be animated. No wonder you guys aren't members. You're like, he doesn't even have animated emojis. This is whack. I uploaded a GIF. I like to call it a GIF instead of a GIF. And it was animated, and that was the whole point. And I had other ones to upload. And now, if they're going to do this and be that tiny, am I going to have to get AI to draw this stuff out? I don't know. Crazy. I unfortunately don't have a lot going on in the way of Halloween costume for the kiddies. None of that's happening, though I'm giving out candy, and we unfortunately picked up the minis, which is below fun size. When on my podcast, my mom was bragging that we give out full size candy bars. So, probably going to have rocks thrown at the house because why do eggs, right? Eggs are expensive when we have a rock bed in front of the house and a giant window just begging to have rocks chucked at it. So, looking forward to that very much so. I thought about playing some more kind of spooky themed games during the season. Months back, I played when it was added to Game Pass Have a Nice Death. And it is a roguelike where you play as death and you have some bosses you kind of have to beat, but you have to like rinse and repeat as you power up and get better abilities to get further along. Very repetitive. It wasn't really as much fun. And it does have a lot of animation to it. It has that kind of hand-drawn Hollow Knight look. Doesn't play like Hollow Knight. I think people kind of just maybe think that the roguelike thing is just such a gimmick for this game. It doesn't really work that well. So unfortunate. And I've got live chat over there. I'm assuming that I've got top messages and it just says live. It's weird that on this screen it says live chat top messages, but over there it's the same thing, but I can see the poll. So if you can't talk or chat, at least use the poll. That's advice to young women right there. Har har. In other news, we have an election coming. We never have that great of choices. The options are never amazing. But Kamala Harris is kind of looking like a lesser option. Like maybe Joe Biden was right that only I can beat Trump. Hey, punch him in the nose. Huh? Yeah, the kids come by and they like to braid the hair on my legs. Yeah, he might have been right because his strategy of disappear and let Trump do all the talking, dig the hole himself, and then, hey, I'm over here as your other option, a mystery box, as one would say. It will work for one election, it won't work twice, right? In the words of George W. Bush, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, won't get fooled again, right? Kamala Harris, though, has that kind of mystery element and could have just not campaigned. Hey, I didn't even campaign and I got the nomination. Amazing. And then just sit in the corner and wait for Donald Trump to say something racist or not racist, but have the media come to her. Hey, it's racist. He's the next Hitler. All this stuff, right? And then just be like, hey, I'm over here and I'm just a nice person. Instead, she opens her mouth and starts it was actually smarter for her not to do any interviews because as she gets interviewed, she sounds like that kid from the meme. The meme where you ever have a dream where you can do and then you could the guy and you could do anything. That is the way Kamala Harris talks to people when the teleprompter is not there and she hasn't heard the questions before, and it is straight embarrassing. And you wonder, how does someone get as far in politics without being averse in politicking? My understanding of it, and this comes from Dan Bongino, not naming sources here. He's a right wing podcaster, used to have a show on Fox News. I should have had my smoke machine closer to me over here. So he was in the Secret Service. He's done detail for like Hillary Clinton or something. He said that she's not dumb. But Kamala Harris, from all things he's heard, is dumb and actually sits in the office and plays solitaire all day long rather than doing any actual job. Because the DEI thing, it's all like, if you know you got somewhere not based on your merits, then you owe the DEI forces to champion them. So she knows it doesn't have anything to do with other than I bullied Joe Biden into, will your running mate be a black woman? He can't say no, dropping that on him at a debate, right? Will your running mate be a black woman? Well, yes, I believe it's okay. Hey, I'm looking around. I'm the only one here. Okay, I can drop out of the race. You're going to nominate me, right? Otherwise, I'm going to call you racist, even though I just did. So she blackmailed and did other unscrupulous things to get this far, but hasn't really learned how to talk to people. That's weird, right? And I'm saying weird here. I hate the talking point stuff from both sides. They say, one side, they're like, okay, the thing we're going to drop on JD Vance is he's weird. And then you can have a super cut of them saying weird. No one has really picked up on the right seems to have their own memo when it comes to Kamala Harris. I had not heard of word salad until Ben Shapiro decided that was the phrase we're going to use. Oh, and then she talks into word salad. And all of the right-wing podcasters, YouTubers, they all say word salad for the way she speaks. Not really a term until they agreed upon that's what we're calling this. And I don't like the kind of like we colluded together, we're all friends, and we're running interference for Trump angle here, making it that obvious that we use the same jargon, the same like made up words. So yeah, if you can kind of spot these patterns and things, you can see through a lot of this trash. Thankfully, this will all be over at some point, and everybody will have to then spend all their money on the next election. It's so weird that instead of actually fixing any issues, we have to come up with problems, or whichever side wins, the other side has to make sure that they can't resolve the things they said they would. So your team wins, and now you have to try to make good on your promises, but the other team is there to stop you. And then they get to say, well, when he was elected, he didn't build the wall like he said he would. Tried to, didn't get it done because the other side stopped him, said, no, we want a chain link fence. We want picket fences, whatever, like the show that was on CBS. So they'll do that instead of actually fixing any problem. And then when if the other side wants to get credit for building the wall, then the flip side, nope, we're not going to let you. Because if you tried to build the wall, you were also going to do the amnesty thing and then call it border security, but it isn't. And so that's the game we play. Whatever happens, not a lot. And then it gets reversed. And then we all have to get super wrapped up in it and give money to politicians. And then I have to get harassed with, and you don't even, how do you know that the people asking for money, these PACs, actually, that it goes anywhere other than this is the new scammer thing? Hey, you want your black MAGA hat, your dark MAGA hat? Send me $15. Do you get it? Maybe not. Seems like the only real official way you could do that would be to go to their actual website. If you knew exactly what the campaign website is. Otherwise, all these other PACs seem to be good for clogging up airwaves or banner ads and whatever with advertisements. But I don't see how you could give them any money thinking that it would go to even advertising. Isn't this really just the cycle? Like ask for handouts, get rich. And both sides do it. And if someone came along and said, we're not going to do any of that, they'll get outspent on the advertising, and too many dumb people get to vote, and they'll vote for whoever they saw the most ads for. And that's what we end up with. So realistically, we never have that great of a choice. And I don't think that the founding fathers foresaw the next president being whoever can raise the most money and spend it to keep the machine going. I don't really think that they thought about campaign funding, right? When George Washington is appointed and he's like, I don't want to be king, Let's call me president. They don't then say, oh, okay, well, we have to think about this whole election thing. Because that's like a whole new constitution right there, just trying to sort out the election. Well, we're not getting any chats. I kind of expected this because I'm not a hot chick. So we may actually wrap up in an hour or so not in another hour, but at the hour mark. We're about 40 minutes in because I'm thinking not a whole lot else to say if I'm not taking any weird questions. But making this members only has certainly limited the weird question aspect. And I've got one member, and if the member doesn't make it, other people get to watch for free, but they don't say anything. And then there's not a whole lot to watch. Kind of a curious situation there. Yeah, weird. If I was a girl, I feel like I would have made a lot of money tonight. Not doing a whole lot. I saw some OnlyFans broad was retired, and after 3 years on the OnlyFans, made 67 million. She claims. Maybe. I don't understand how anybody buys any of that. It all gets put up on Twitter for free, so or enough of it, and I don't know. It's kind of like somebody had to buy it so that they could share it, but then everybody else didn't need to. So where did all the money come from? Are people just too stupid to get the free stuff? I don't know. Or actually it's more like the experience. You paid her a lot of money so that she'll DM you, "Oh wow, you're so cute. Thanks." I mean, look, if she's making 67 million over 3 years, that ain't her texting you. That's a secretary. And also all these girls usually seem to have a boyfriend bankrolling their adventures. So your money is going where? Buying houses in Malibu? That might be it. Do you get what does a house in Malibu cost now? Are you a renter with $20 million spent on a house in Malibu now? Is that like the market? It's amazing how like California can be such a trash heap and then demand higher prices to live there. And that's the only thing they can do. Like they have to agree, we have to keep the price super high so that people still think this place is good. Because how bad could it be if it's expensive and you have to be a millionaire to live in a hut? So if we keep the price high enough, we can keep the facade going that wow, this is Hollywood's making the hit movies and churning things out and all this stuff, right? Speaking of hits, I ordered the Wolverine Deadpool Wolverine edition steelbook. It's supposed to come out on the 22nd, and Walmart shipped me mine, created a label for FedEx, and never sent the movie. FedEx is over there saying, label created, we're waiting for your item. Walmart customer service says, wait another 48 hours and we'll get right on this. We have a special number, a case, file name, all this. Just wait another 48 hours. And I'm like, okay, you realize that it says that FedEx hasn't gotten the item. Well, FedEx sometimes is late to like update their thing. No, they're not. They will tell you we're coming to your house at this time. The item was left on the porch, whatever. And I think they even take a picture. Amazon will definitely take a picture, I'm pretty sure. But in this case, one hand is saying we never got your item. The other hand is saying they're not updating their tracking correctly. And I'm saying you never had the item to begin with. You oversold your pre-orders and you're having a hard time telling me that this got canceled. Now, I could probably go down to my local Walmart and get for 21 bucks this week until they jack the price up. And that's always the case with the new release movies. They have a way of being like $5 cheaper the week of, and then for the next year stuck at that price. But you might get lucky enough and buy like from somewhere where you had to buy 3 to get a savings of some kind. Like there'll be situations like that. I will post a picture of my anime collection on the feed there, and I'm having some trouble because I just realized in looking at the picture that I have 2 Kiki's delivery service. I have one with the paper slipcase. It's the older Blu-ray release. One that's a newer release. They're probably the same disc, and it has the steelbook. And I didn't realize that I had ordered the paper slipcase one months ago, and then more recently, the steelbook. I'm not complaining too much. I really like the movie. Would it be nice to see in 4K? Probably. The traditional animated stuff, there's not a lot more detail to pick up beyond 1080p if you really think about it. Okay, there's a lot of well, intricate backgrounds might be different, but characters largely there is some shadow, but you want to have uniform coloring. So then how much more detail is there? It's not looking at a human. The flashy effects shots could look better with HDR. That would be the reason to have the 4K disc. But we don't get that. And I'm kind of surprised that our TVs won't do something where they attempt to convert that signal, the Blu-ray, convert your Blu-ray to HDR, right? Xbox will convert some older games, and it's really hard to tell which ones will get the treatment. I was playing Alien Isolation the other week, and it does play with the Xbox Series X doing FPS boost to get it to 60 frames per second instead of the release Xbox One frame rate of 30. It will do that. It will also give you auto HDR, which looks really snazzy with all the celestial debris falling down, the flamethrower, sparks, all that stuff looks really cool. Flip side of things, Sonic Mania will also give you auto HDR. And it looks weird seeing a kind of glowing blue Sonic and too bright of white in places. That's not a game that's, tailor-made for that. Capcom Fighting Collection will not give you the option of auto HDR. So the game looks closer to how you would have seen these games, like the Darkstalker games I've been playing lately, to how they looked in the arcade. Instead of colors not really matching the way they would be presented in arcade. Kind of understandable. The older Fighting Collection of sorts, the 35th anniversary Street Fighter, is it 30th anniversary or 35th? Any rate, that version of the Street Fighter collection will give you the auto HDR and make things look weird. But it is kind of a fun thing to have, also a different way to look at the game. My understanding of it is over there at PlayStation, they don't seem to have the same options. They don't get to play Alien Isolation at 60 frames per second on the PS5. Because I posted about this on Reddit a couple days ago, and people were saying, oh, here I am on PS5, stuck at 30 frames per second. Where are we at on here? We got about 12 minutes unless people start talking. Guys, sign up. Chat by... Oh, I'm writing hat. Come on, chat by becoming a becoming a member. Are people like confused as to how this works? Oh, come on. Now, do I have to do an emoji also? There we go. Did that post? Send. There we go. Yeah, you gotta become a member to chat now. The chat was getting so wild. All of this, Jessica Alba or Sydney Sweeney. What are you gonna do? Like all that crap. I did spend some money. Yesterday, I rejoined X Premium, the top version of it, to be the most unshadow banned. I feel like what Elon Musk has done is he wants this credit for saving free speech, but then he wants you to pay for it. I save free speech, but you're shadow banned. But you're not technically not talking to anybody, just no one notices. But if you pay me $100 a year, thankfully it could have been 200 plus is what he's wanting. You'll be fully on shadow banned and you'll get access to Grok 2, our AI that does some generative stuff. I have been using Bing Copilot AI, free AI stuff to make a few thumbnails here on the channel, but all the thumbnails for my podcast. Even my mom has a podcast. But it is so finicky. Like, oh, you want LeBron James doing? Nope, no, we don't. We can't draw real people. Can't do that. You want that? Well, that's too bloody. Yeah, we can't do a vampire. Yeah, it gets more restrictive by the day. As soon as I signed up for the X Premium thing and I tried out the Grok 2, the first thing I did, Trump and Kamala hugging, and it didn't say I protest. We can't do that. It doesn't look photorealistic. I think it's fine enough that it doesn't. You know, you're not trying to fool people, but there is some possibilities out of this. If you have a decent idea for a joke and you want a political cartoon, maybe AI could help with that. But if you wanted to do a comic strip, a web comic, it'd be really hard to get the AI to uniformly draw the same character for each scene, and I don't think that would fully work out. You'd have to then do the Photoshop, get some layers yourself. Maybe you could get it to do the backgrounds. It could do something, and then you'd have to still do something. You couldn't just simply fill in the font, the thought bubble. Couldn't do that. I do have a horror film yeah, hold on. I've got one more horror film to kind of talk to you about that I picked up, and I'm going to try not to make a mess here with my Red Bull. I'm going to go grab it and then tell you, because I think I may have started unboxing that. Did I just hit my camera? There we go. Dark Star. You guys know what this is? This is from, I think, 74. Yeah, 74. And it is the first film by John Carpenter, and it is a comedy. And it's also produced by Dan O'Bannon, right? And I think, yeah, so he has a written intro on this, proclaiming it as a comedy. Not a good sign when you have to tell the audience that you made a comedy because it's not funny enough for anybody to laugh. There are some perceived in-joke things about this that just don't convey funny enough to work, but you can kind of look at some segment of this and see it reappear in the film Alien and even Aliens to some degree. There is a crew out in deep space and they destroy unstable planets. And I'm going to put that down, but over here, oh, the planet's unstable. It's going to fall into the star and it'll create a supernova, ruin the system. So we have to destroy the planet with our special bombs that talk back to us. The effects stuff, not good. At least on this Blu-ray, it looks better than where I've seen it streaming. It's available for streaming on Plex or Tubi, and it looks totally awful. Still really grainy and pixelated and not sharply focused even on Blu-ray. So it's got that going for it. However, there is a part where there was an alien pet brought along and it just causes some mayhem. And that kind of inspires Alien. So you can kind of look at this as the comedy take on Alien at parts. And it also has a less so a 2001 A Space Odyssey thing going and more of a dark humor, Doctor Strangelove type thing, especially towards the end. I was getting strong Doctor Strangelove vibes. If you haven't seen it, you got the guy Rodeo riding the bomb at the end of Doctor Strangelove. Well, now you got a space surfer. Same concept. Or very similar, but maybe not as impactful. Doctor Strangelove, a funny movie with actual comedy talents. This not. And I think because this didn't really work out on the comedy side, they were just kind of like, Dan O'Bannon's like, I'm not going to do so much of the comedy thing. And John Carpenter certainly was not doing the comedy thing thereafter. Though, didn't he do a movie of Chevy Chase and it might have been comedy? Never saw it. So that is Dark Star. Oh, we're getting thumbs up. Hey, can you thumb up without being a member? Is that how that works? Or do you have to be a member to thumb up? Okay, I'm going to hit try thumb up. Try the thumb up. No, I hit up and it auto corrected to under. Thumb up button. There we go. Only one like, no chats, 4 viewers. The end results of this stream are going to be dire. But, that's the price one pays for being a content creator, but not a hot chick with an OnlyFans account to, drain guys of their pride and money. So, yeah, these are some of the horror things I've been watching. I guess I'm going to finish The Fall tonight. I'd started watching Beastmaster 4K. I've got about 30 minutes left on that to watch. I've got a lot of things I just kind of wanted to sample that I've seen before. I wanted to sample the quality of sorts. And Dark Star also, it's not. I would recommend just watching this for free on Plex because even in optimal quality, it's cheap as hell. It's amazing they said that it cost $50,000 back in 74 and they went to the movie theater to see what the crowd reaction would be and the reaction really is what crowd because it bombed. But learning and they improved. I'm not so sure that today's filmmakers improve. They kind of just emulate trash and then keep doing it. Like, I want to be Kevin Smith. Okay, is that you're not setting the bar high if you're going to emulate somebody who makes mostly bad movies, right? So, and did Kevin Smith improve as a filmmaker? Doesn't really seem like it. Oh, I want to emulate Quentin Tarantino, whose movies keep getting worse. Robert Rodriguez, right? The guy who once him and Tarantino paired up, it was over for both of them. Don't emulate these other people. At least when these guys made Dark Star, I don't think that they were trying to copy somebody else so much. What did you have going on in space movies? 2001: A Space Odyssey, not a comedy. And then if these guys are also responsible, well, Dan O'Bannon in some part for Alien, then he's certainly not ripping off Alien, right? 4 years prior. Kind of lucky to just have something out there to go, hey, 20th Century Fox, I made something before. Trust me with a little bit of money over here. Though I do think Ridley Scott drew very convincing like storyboard stuff in the pitch for Alien. And that helped them like double the budget because they had a very strict budget over at 20th Century Fox. And I think that was the case for that film. The knife trick from Bishop, you can see that in this movie. There's a little bit of that, I'm kind of bored. I'm going to stick some knives between my fingers. I'm like, Bishop's knife trick. We're doing Bishop's knife trick in this movie. That's amazing. Well, I see you guys are not trying out the thumbs up button. So this was quite the eventful chat with myself. I think half of the viewers for these live streams are watching after the fact and then saying, oh, sorry, I missed the chat, but I'll listen to this later. And then it's not interactive, but it is something long with not garbage audio that they can listen to while doing the dishes, folding the towels, mopping the floor, vacuuming the stairs, all that's mowing the lawn, washing the dog, throwing away the car, running it off a ditch with the dead bodies inside because it's more efficient than burying them. You can listen to this almost like a weird ass interactive podcast rather than something visual. And that's kind of what I would hope if you were doing this after the fact. That I don't think that you're going to watch a guy not show you a lot of visuals, though. In this case, I did pick up a few objects and show them in front of the camera for giggles. And I guess we'll be wrapping this up at the 1 hour mark because lack of activity here. Unless I'm missing something. All I've got is, me asking for likes, which I'm not really getting. And chat by becoming a member and no one joining that. So shit, the member thing may be short-lived around here. Cause if I can't get a few people to even sign up to bankroll the live stream, then gotta wonder why keep doing the live stream? It doesn't seem to be gaining popularity. For a little bit, it kind of was, and I think that was solely based on the topic. And then you kind of have with the vertical format, YouTube will recommend those in the short feed, and then people just kind of come across them. I think that if you do the live in the more produced way, widescreen, good camera, good mic, you end up with this situation where only your subs who know that you're going to go live that day come across it. And now you guys are revolting because you're like, oh, Andy wants us to pay money. Ugh. So let's. All right, we're wrapping this up. I've got to try to remember what my like going out phrase will be. You know, when I do the game streams, I've got a little something I say. I don't really have anything in particular for this, but made it this far, wait until marriage. Counseling. Now I unceremoniously lean over here and hit end somehow. And I have to hit confirm. I've got viewers. I mean, do I have to end this? No one's going to chat. So, what am I going to do, right? I'm kind of running out of spooky things to talk about over here. I thought you guys are going to be like, hey, who's a better killer, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees or something like that. But nope, nobody said anything. Although I'll probably have somebody show up later and be like, hey, did I miss the stream? Right. And then I'm going to be like over here, like, yep, you missed the stream and you didn't pay for it. So hell, I'll rattle off a few things while I'm still kind of here and bored. I do have a podcast I need to edit to get out tonight because I try to have the podcast up on Fridays, usually at 6 a.m. Try to record them on Thursdays to drop them in the morning. But we failed to do that. Jason Voorhees, it's so wishy-washy with him. It's almost like he's got to be a demon, right? But Michael Myers may as well be a demon also, except he can be very killable when they need him to be killed. Or maybe he reappears in some other fashion somehow anyway, regardless. I like how with Jason Voorhees, there's an evolution and improvement to his design. Oh, weird mutant kid becomes Sackhead, we got the hockey mask. Okay, now we're ready to roll. And then we improve that look. And then we kind of go overboard, right? He gets more mutated. He gets harpooned and other shit. And then he has the slash in his head. And then he has to collect all the battle damage. And then he becomes a mutant with the mutant hockey mask. Like that's a thing in space. But then we get back to our roots and then we go away for 10 plus years. 15. Yeah, 15 since 2009 reboot. I actually have the DVD of Halloween over here, the box. I put the DVD in one of those like CD caddy type things. You stuff in your car that your grandma gives you for Christmas because she doesn't know what you want or something. And so I put all my DVDs in that, and I never watch my DVDs anyways because they're 480p. But yeah, I can actually kind of grab that. Let's see, I had that over here. Okay, and no means an apples to apples comparison, but we've got that Arrow, that recent release. By the way, this is out of print also. The name of the game is to out of print and short your physical media. A recent poll from Bing, that's Microsoft's Google, 81% of people polled prefer physical media over digital. And we're just not going to make much of this shit so that we can like gouge the price, have scalpers online on eBay. By the way, I actually got this from one of those scalpers. This guy, Blu-rays for everyone. People are complaining about like he bought up all the Ninja Scrolls or something and is going to charge an arm and a leg. This was not a movie that needed to cost $35. But in here, they do have something about the 4K restoration that I was meaning to read. And I kind of think we may as well kind of go over some of that. We've got a big poster that something about try 30 days of Arrow's program thing over here. And the unfortunate thing with every Arrow release, you never get Steelbook. I'm pretty sure they don't do Steelbook, okay? They like to do the paper slipcover, which always gets dinged up. We've got a postcard from Camp Crystal Lake. They'll stuff a few like things in a release, and it's 2 discs. Don't you feel super satisfied, whatever? I would, in a lot of ways, I would prefer that Movies Anywhere Voodoo license, the digital copy. I would actually prefer the digital copy in a lot of ways than kind of what they do. But they'll give you a little booklet. And let's see, boy missing whatever, something. Oh, and he's got weed. The cops can't find the kid, but there's weed in the place. So let's kind of look through this and see if we can learn much. There's a few pages here. We've got like stills. Welcome to Crystal Lake, topography of American terror. It's almost written almost like it's a kind of like a newspaper type aspect to it. Department of Homeland Security. Oh, does Homeland Security go looking for Jason Voorhees? It mentions Barack Obama and Al Qaeda and ISIS in here. Kind of weird. However, it is the excess that speaks. Like any of that really has an effect on the 2009 version of Jason Voorhees. I thought there was going to be something about the restoration. About the restoration, here's what we say. So I'll read this to you guys, okay? Friday the 13th has been remastered by Arrow Films and is presented in its original aspect ratio of 2.40 to 1 with 5.1 audio. The film is presented in both its theatrical and extended killer cut versions. The film is presented in 4K resolution with HDR10 and Dolby Vision. The 2K DI feature master data was supplied by Warner Brothers. The film was restored and graded by 2K DI. So, despite being shot on film, it had a 2K digital intermediate. So, it's then all materials sourced in a new master. So, it's really not truly 4K, because the limitation of the 2K digital intermediate. And that's part of the bullshit when it comes to let's edit everything digital. When you edit digital, we got to turn everything digital now. What do we do? Well, they didn't have 4K at the time, so 2K is good enough. And then you kind of end up with that. I don't think the movie looks bad. The HDR definitely looks pretty neat on it. There's flames and things like that, and it still has a shot on film look, but it's not always that sharp of a picture. And I think sometimes they just didn't have the picture in focus. And there will be parts where it looks more like the background is more on focus than the talent in a close-up or something. You'll kind of see that kind of come up. And I almost think that that's also a consequence of actually digitally editing, digitally zooming in on a shot versus them actually setting up the shot and framing it that way. But I still think that's the best movie in the franchise. And then over here, we also have clearly the best movie in the Halloween franchise, and it's not even debatable. I say that despite not seeing almost half the movies, not seeing 4, 5, or the third of the new trilogy, Halloween Kills, or Rob Zombie's first. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot I'm missing there, but I haven't heard anything good enough to make me think that they could be better than the first one, which has, uh, an eeriness to it and a dangerous aspect that I don't really think the other ones get so much. And there's also the, hey, making a movie following up Dark Star, maybe I need this not to be trash. We better put a lot of attention into this. Make sure we have something good. Well, if you're motivated to not completely ruin your career, I guess you'll give it a try, right? Instead of just punching shit out now like a Russo. Is it a Russo or Russo brother? Don't really care. So yeah, kind of the star-making vehicle for Jamie Lee Curtis, though. Nepotism baby. She would have got something in one way or another, right? I say this like John Carpenter is about to drop dead, and I think the poetic justice would be for him to just check out on Halloween night. So if John Carpenter dies this Halloween, I called it. Let that be known, right? We're down to 2 viewers, one of them being me, and we don't have any chat in the stream, and that's that. So yeah, this well, hey, it says here's on the back here, the video is transferred. Well, this is so weird. This is such a weird way to go about this. It's like, so this is the back of the DVD for Halloween. This is a DVD released in 2000, I'm thinking. It says 2000 here. Halloween has been fully restored under the supervision of Lucasfilm's THX digital mastering services. I'm not even sure if I ever put this in my PlayStation 2 to watch it or anything, but it probably starts with that THX deep note. Remember when that was on every VHS you rented, right? Transferred by the award-winning colorist Adam Adams, Terminator 2, Titanic, from a new 35 millimeter interpositive made from the original camera negative. It's kind of the like first generation print is kind of what you're saying there, in a sense, but not the real negatives. The Beastmaster I have from Arrow, I believe it is. They did their restoration based on the interpositive, and it's fine. I mean, that's not a movie that is going to have like the limitations of a 2K digital intermediate. So I think may come relatively its actual 4K more so than something that was the best we can do is give you the print that had already been scaled down to 2K and then try to blow it back up to the 4K. And that could be more bothersome to you if you're watching on like a 73 plus inch TV or something that's going to really blow up and demand the 4K. Like if you have a TV that can do 8K and you're waiting for 8K to come around, then a film that has been mastered at 2K is probably not going to look amazing. And you'll be like, wait, this isn't much different than the Blu-ray, right? So yeah, weird that this is all about, the new 35 millimeter is and approved by the film cinematographer Dean Cundy from Jurassic Park, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This is not a badly shot movie, and I think it might have actually been the first movie to use the Steadicam, which, if nothing else, plays a big role in getting right and getting the Steadicam gimbal setup, the counterweight stuff helps a lot with the in title scroll and the track. The stuff used to just be so jittery, and then for a time they fixed it and now it's digital, so it won't be, right, unless you're trying to duplicate an old effect. But Rob Zombie's Halloween, I've said it before, was shot almost entirely Steadicam. I know because I worked on a movie with the guy that was shooting, that did the Steadicam work. And the film that we were working on, featuring two Oscar winners, like one got a Lifetime Achievement Award. I don't know if anybody can truly win an Oscar the way anything goes, but uh, so we have two Oscar recipients on our Western, and the guy working the Steadicam had just finished like Rob Zombie's Halloween, and he said it was all everything they were shooting with Steadicam. And what we were doing was like a lot of boring ass, very stationary tripod stuff, and you'd almost pass it off for like a Wes Anderson type setup where everything has to look like a stage presentation. Super lame, right? Okay, so we're down to one viewer. Cool. And yeah, so Steadicam. They kept the Steadicam thing going in Halloween for a bit, or tried to. Might actually be better off watching this on Plex with all the commercial interruptions versus the DVD. I'm not sure. Because how good of a picture do they offer on Plex? From my understanding of it, Plex will actually give you the 1080p, but Tubi is limited to 720p for God knows why. And if you skip around on Tubi, you can bypass the commercial breaks. I think on Plex they stack them and they're like, "Oh, you're due for some breaks, so here you're hitting them," and they're going to be long. I watched Demons 2 on Plex, and it was 15 minutes of ads per hour of movie, as if you were watching cable. And they were unskippable and all this. And they got to be loving their situation when it comes to these apps, because if you have the app, there is no ad blocker. I guess if you could go to their website, which I haven't gone to Plex's website to screen grab anything for review clips, but I guess you could ad block your way around that maybe. And only Google Chrome will work on a Mac when it comes to grabbing the screen. My other way to go about that, I have a adapter thing that does 1080p somewhat unreliably by recording to a USB drive. And sometimes you don't get any sound. Thankfully, I don't usually use any of the movie sound in my videos. But suppose I needed to for a scene, a lot of times just won't give you the sound. So it can be unreliable there. You don't know until you're done recording everything. Also, I've noticed in recent recordings, some of the anime stuff I've done lately, you do get a lot of like periods of black where the screen will just go black for 10 seconds. But you don't know that until you look at the way it was recorded. So does that mean the device is going out? The new alternatives are more expensive, may not really be worth it, because most of the time I'm actually grabbing stuff from the Mac, which does have a frame rate issue. So when you see footage come up on my channel in a review and the footage looks a little slowed down or lower frame rate in a way, that's because sometimes just out of nowhere the Mac is like, we're dropping frames on OBS or something else. It's looking fine on my end, but then even when I record it, it looks good. But when I import it to iMovie, it's like where the version iMovie gets is not as good. And that kind of sucks, but I don't really want to pay for Final Cut Pro again. I feel like, I had it for so long and I never upgraded to Final Cut Pro X. And it's going to take up a lot of resources. And I think it still has to render like kind of in the background or not. But even more beautiful to be able to put stuff on your phone. The iMovie on your phone works so much better for editing, really. On your phone, iMovie will do Dolby Vision. On your Mac, it won't. On your phone, there is no rendering. On your Mac, there is a lot of space taken up rendering, but it's very much in the background and you don't notice. But that's the way that sort of thing goes. We've got people coming and going in the chat. Well, not in the chat, but I see people here, and then I don't see anybody talking, which, it's I guess that's the way it goes when you're streaming and you're not a hot chick, right? Real shame about not super great information on this essentially 2K release, 2K with HDR. And let's see, we had another insert to put in there. Uh-oh, you guys might have saw my digital copy number. Probably not, but yeah, and kind of also bummed out on that Expendables fan. Though I really do have to assume that it's the case that Expendables 3 unrated is just CGI blood added back. That's the difference, because Expendables 2 clearly shot PG-13. Let's add the blood in post to get our blood or to get our R rating. Well, Expendables 3, hey, you thought that the CGI blood looks stupid? Fine, we won't add it. And we'll get our PG-13 rating, and maybe the kids that like Marvel shit will come watch us, and they don't. So that was that. But then Expendables 4 is just straight trash. I am mildly curious if in 4K the effects look any better, because I know for damn sure on Stars, where I watched Expendables 4 earlier this year, the feed isn't good. It looked pixelated, low bit rate, and I am just curious enough just to pop in that Expendables 4 disc and just look at a few scenes, not watch the whole movie, but it is more of a shot on video, looks cheap affair, and the CGI laughable. But would the worst bits of the CGI look more passable on the 4K disc? That's what I kind of want to know. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. Thanks for dropping by. Looks like most of you couldn't find the like button. I would think the like button begets more viewers, but maybe that doesn't seem to be the case. I got a ton of likes on my Night Warriors video, which I kind of want to look at the details on that here. I'm going to pull that up. And if I'm not mistaken, hold on, do I have to give myself a like here? How do we do that? Is that going to count as a like? I don't know. If I keep spamming this, there's a red heart that appears. Do I give myself a like if I do that? What about hundreds? Does that do anything? Am I tipping myself? Is that costing me money? I don't know the ins and outs of this. No, the thumbs up is over here. Okay, so I just gave myself a thumbs up. I see that. I had, and I'm pretty sure I'm getting screwed over by the system, guys. And I think I can even show you this. It's been corrected now, somewhat. But how does one, and okay, so earlier today I had like, what? I had more likes for my what do we call it? Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge video. I actually had more likes than views. How does that happen, YouTube? Now it says 140 views, 37 likes. With 37 likes, one should probably have 1,000 views. That's more like the typical ratio. It's not usually everybody piles on and hits like ratio over on this channel. Oh, a hot girl said something that aligns with my politics, hit the like button. It's not like that. So usually if I got close to 50 likes, we're probably looking at closer to, quadruple digits views. So that doesn't make a ton of sense. But for most of the day, really, it said I had more likes than views. So is there a new way to like a video without watching it to somehow bypass the actual view? Like, Did it start with an ad and someone hit like as the ad was playing, but left and dipped before anything could get counted? Like, what kind of garbage is happening here? Just everything's shady. Everything kind of sucks. And that's the way it is. So we're going to go ahead and sign off now. Yeah, and I've kind of said my piece, Halloween spooky stuff. Everybody be safe or whatever. If you want, scare kids. Don't. Probably going to have just a bunch of little princesses doing the trick or treating come Thursday. It's really about all I'm expecting. It's been the popular costume last season. The Avenger stuff is very much waning with the kids. Might actually see some Ninja Turtles. There is Sonic the Hedgehog is damn popular right now. I never see anybody dress up like Mario. So I wonder if these kids are even capable of keeping up in the Sonic games. And from what I've heard from the moms that have the kids that like Sonic, it's kind of like they like watching him, like just watching his movie or some animated series show, something like this, and they see clips or watch people play the game because the old games in particular are hard. The newer stuff, I'm not really sure is as approachable for them, even though there is a lot of nanny assists. There are infinite lives. You can resume. You can play the level again. You don't have to worry about your lives running out and starting over. There's that, but no one dresses up as Mario. Kind of a shame. I don't know. We all expect Mario to be more popular, but if Sonic is winning the kids' costume thing, I recall before the Deadpool movies came out, the number one costume in Florida was said to have been Deadpool one year, which I think gets Marvel thinking, hey, maybe there should be a Deadpool movie. Now, how a character that doesn't have a movie or, seems to have a less than mainstream appeal following at the time, it could be the number one costume on whatever chart, USA Today or something I was looking at. How that could be possible, I don't know. Maybe people just voted it or wrote it in. I don't know how they came up with this data, but that was where things signaled, hey, maybe we can do something with Deadpool. That's the way I see about that. Maybe Ryan Reynolds isn't so off his rocker. We can support this somewhat. He really had to do a lot to get that off the ground. And I will probably not get to see the new Deadpool and Wolverine because Walmart screwed me over. I'm going to make a note not to pre-order physical media from them. Else this happened to you, right? But hey, if everybody got cheated out of Ninja Scroll except me, I guess I was due for this, right? So that will do it for the stream. Still, we're having trouble finding the like button. I can see that. And yeah, this was a disaster. So cool.